Hi folks, I'm Mark Pierre, software engineer and test, and this is a quick demonstration of how to run a end-to-end test interactively and with a debugger. And so I'm here in the GitLab source code. I'm just going to open it with the Visual Studio Code just to show you the test we're looking at. And suppose this create merge request test is failing at this expect statement here. Suppose we've seen in CI the test fail and we want to see what's going on at this point. So I could put a breakpoint in here and then debug it with Visual Studio Code, but not everyone has access to it. Well, not when everyone is using Visual Studio Code, but everyone can simply add a binding.pry statement like this. So we'll do that. And then I'll drop back to the command line, get into the QA folder, and then run the command to run the test. Now there's a few parts here that I'll explain. I have debugging turned on, so that will show a bit more, quite a bit more about what the framework is doing. We have an access token here so that the test will skip the step where it creates its own access token. The framework will do that automatically. It's not a specific part of the test, so we're going to skip that. And then Chrome headless is set to 0, so is that the browser window pops up and we see what's happening. Then bundle exec bin QA is the command that initiates the framework. There's a bit of setup that it needs to do. It uses RSpec to actually run the test. The tests are written in RSpec, but there's a bit that the framework needs to do first, including figuring out which tests to run. So this tells the framework which scenario we're going to run. We're going to run a test from the scenario that includes all of the standard tests. It's going to be run against my GDK instance running at that address. And we've told it here, we're telling you, passing these options to RSpec. So RSpec is going to select this specific spec file, and it's only going to run the tests that are tagged with smoke. I've chosen that tag because it's one of two examples in that spec file, and I'm only interested in running the one at the moment. If it didn't have that tag, I could add another tag, for example, the focus tag, and then select that instead. For now, let's start that off, and browser pops up automatically, and you can see the debug output on the left. There's quite a bit which shows all of the elements that the test framework is clicking on, finding, all of that. And we can see in the browser, the merge request is open and pry has stopped at the relevant point. So I can take advantage of all the pry offers and see what's in the variables. So we have merge request title that we expect, and merge request dot title shows the text that's actually contained in that element. And so this expect statement passes because that text is contained there. But if something had gone wrong, we can simulate something going wrong at that point by editing the title. Save that. And then if I execute the expect statement again, it will time out because it's trying to find that title in the page object and it's not able to because I've removed it. And there we go, we see the expectation not met error. And because we're using pry by bug, if I hit continue, it will run now as if there was a problem. And so after a few seconds again, it will fail. Okay, now on the right here, I'm also in the GDK window. So it can be useful to see the logs that the instance emits as the test runs. So that's another bit of info that can be useful in figuring out what's going on. And so I ran the test again, same command. You can see everything that's happening in the background. And once it creates the merge request and opens a file, it will stop at that pry breakpoint again. And then it's at that point that I could do something manually. So I could merge this merge request, and I can see all of the logs that occur at that point in time, which might be something useful if I'm trying to debug what's going on at that point. So yeah, just a quick demonstration there. There's plenty more that GitLab QA, the framework, can do. So if you'd like to learn more, please check out the links in the description. Okay, thank you.